Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to yet another edition of Africa Discourse. I am Wilson Marshall. Today is all about the Tigray crisis that is really happening in Ethiopia. Yeah, something's really like, going in regions, like saying the way you are treating us as a region, we do not like it. That is not the agreement we had when we came together to form this unity system of government. For that reason, we are sick and tired of the way you are running the country. We are sick and tired of the way you are abusing our constitution. We are sick and tired of the way you are not treating us right. For that reason, we want to operate our own. And of course, Meleke, so to speak, is our headquarters. That did go out to with the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Ahmed. He sent troops to the Tigray region. And like they say, the rest is history. Conquering, recapturing, fighting, bringing down jets, food shortage, ailment, humanitarian diseases, you just name it. Everything is happening all at once in that region. But the separatists, according to reports, they are claiming victory after being able to recapture their capital. Is this the beginning of the end of the war, or one can say the battle has been won, but the war rages on? With me here in the studio to talk about this, I have two beautiful minds with me in the studio, legal practitioners. Join me to welcome Barrister Henry Nwozo, who just gained an in-law. Son-in-law. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, congrats. Sorry I couldn't make it to the wedding.
Thank God for everything.
All right.
Viewers at home, you are welcome.
All right.
Good afternoon.
All right. And very close to him is another bright mind, a legal practitioner, political analyst. Join me to welcome Barrister Emmanuel Obakpolo. Barrister, welcome to Africa Discourse.
Good afternoon, Wilson, and viewers at home.
Okay. The Tigray region is like a war-torn zone, but they are claiming victory because they're able to recapture their capital. Some don't know how we really got to this place where we are. Maybe as we're talking, you get to see the clips, you're going to see thousands of soldiers marching back home, so to speak, and many others captured. Barrister Emmanuel Obakpolo, how did they get to this position in Tigray?
It's unfortunate that in most African countries, you see things like this. And Ethiopia happens not to be an exception as it stands just now. The problem in Ethiopia, to my mind, is caused by the Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed. The question is, why did he choose to send military campaign, so to speak? It was tagged military campaign.
Yeah.
And but you and I know that it's a war-like situation in Tigray as it stands. This Tigray happens to be the 5th largest city in Ethiopia. And economically, Tigray is very viable, so to speak, in Ethiopia. And I think there might be one or two economic interests, because the Tigrans, they are the minority tribe. It's one of the minority tribe in Ethiopia. And they are people who are very hardworking, and most of them predominantly are farmers because of the river Mereb that is in that area. And so the political elites in Ethiopia, particularly the Prime Minister, maybe has one or two special interests in that area. And that is why when people are agitating for something, that this is our rights, give us our right, let us be beneficiaries of our rights. And before you know, in this part of the world, military campaign, like they called it in Ethiopia, will be sent there to quench the agitation of the people. And that is why you see the war-like situation in Tigray just now.
All right. Well, you heard him giving us a fine foundation to this discussion. They call it military campaign that went out of control, so to speak, because they're now kind of, reenacting a full-blown war. Barrister Henry Nwozo, he said it's like to squash insurgents, to squash separatists because of the viability of Tigray region in Ethiopia. Do you think this would have gotten to this extent after all he heaped the blame on the Prime Minister, Ahmed?
Well, again, you look at the history of the people. Very, very important. Where are these people coming from? That is another important thing. Look at, these are persons who are one way or the other, they are mostly rebels, as it were. At a point in time, they graduated from being rebels to become rulers. And suddenly, the young man came into office and decided to disintegrate them. That which they would have benefited directly, as it were, the young man ensured that he came initially with freeing political prisoners, ensuring that those who have been marginalized, humanized, are compensated one way or the other. But suddenly, he now changed and went back to the same old ways. And this people now felt that they cannot sit down and watch him go back to the same old ways, which they campaigned against, which they fought against, because it was the oppression that they fought against, that they wanted to be free, that they wanted their own region. And suddenly the man, you know, Ahmed himself was an intelligent officer, as it were, then. And then, because of the crisis that came up in 2016, he was able to get his way and became, you know, the prime minister. And since then, he tries to consolidate, as it were. But you look at the history of the people, very important. Where are they coming from? Checking from 1991, when Menawi and others were there. Ethiopia had a stable government. For that period in time that the man was in office, they had a stable government. It was the Tigrays that were in government. And Abiy himself was part of the government, as it were, then. But at the death of the man, he now came into office. Suddenly, he deviated from the initial plans. Because the issue there is, the people are saying that we are being oppressed. We are being dehumanized. We are, what's supposed to get to us, you are not allies. Look at the situation when the situation started. Election was to hold. Abiy said, oh, because of the coronavirus, they are not going to election. But the people went ahead with their parliamentary elections, as it were. And what did the government do? The government decided to cut off funds, as it were, to the people. And that was part of the problem that sparked off what you have today, as it were. So the people on their own, they are fighting for survival. And you must look at their history too, because they have been the one who has fought to ensure that Ethiopia, as it were, had a stable government at a particular time, it were the government. And now, the same people are not benefiting after they have made so much sacrifices in terms of human and material resources.
All right, now we're talking about Ethiopian Tigray crisis impact on the East African region. He talked about Tigray being the buffer, so to speak, because really they played a role to fight against insurgents, to shield Ethiopia against insurgents. But now, both of you are heaping the blame on the Prime Minister. Doesn't the Prime Minister have the right, as the sole custodian, so to speak, is like a ruler, to say what happens in his own country?
Yes, he has that right. He has that authority. He has that power as given to him by the people. Now, if you look at Tigray, first, just like my learned senior said here, Tigray is a special town in Ethiopia, special city. To the north, is bounded by Eritrea. Yeah. To the west, Sudan. And if you look at it, the Ethiopia-Eritrea war, most of the powerhouse that helped Ethiopia was Tigray. Tigray was the base, so to speak, for that war. And now the people suffered so much, went through so much pain, staked their lives to see that they ensure that there is one united Ethiopia. And now, Ethiopia is standing as she is just now. And somebody is saying, no, I am cutting you out. Consciously or unconsciously. And the people are saying, no, we must be beneficiary of this good or goodies as it stands. Because we were the one who fought the war. And the man has said, okay, it appears you people want to protest for what I am giving you an order, and you are going against my order. Then you are bound to face what you want to see. Maybe you are bound to dance the cobra dance or the python dance. So you see that, and that is why the people say, okay, if that is the situation, our lives here is meaningless to us. However, to every crisis, there is a political undertone. And to every crisis, there is also a political answer. So as a prime minister, Abiy Ahmed, what he ought to have done is to call the people, come, let's dialogue. What is really the situation? okay, what do you want? What are your requests? By the time the people are able to table their requests on the table, then the card can be played. Okay, if you have 7, and what if we give you 3 first?
That is bargaining.
Yes, you bargain with the people and see that there is really peace in Ethiopia. But not that you will tell the people, okay, I will give you, maybe I will say it in the language that you people understand better. And the people now say, okay, let us go. And that is the crisis in Ethiopia. And the truth remains that other countries have interest in it. Like Eritrea, like Sudan, they have interest. And that's why, who knows whether these countries, in one way or the other, are also in support of what is going on. And if they are, you see that East Africa will suffer a lot of pain. And it may not be only East Africa. The horn of the whole of Africa will suffer pains.
All right, talking about the East African region suffering pains because of this particular crisis. Some are saying that the reason why this crisis is brewing between Ethiopia and, of course, Tigray is because of power play. I may want to show that he is in charge. And, of course, Michael, the leader, so to speak, of Tigray want to show that you cannot do us anything. After all, we are the powerhouse of Ethiopia. Is it a clash of ego or the clash of fundamental human rights?
Well, you might look at it from different angles. You might look at it from the angle of clash of ego. You also look at it from the issue of the fundamental human rights, the people wanting to stand their ground and benefit from what they have made so much sacrifice for. You know, as far back as the mid-1970s, the Tigrayans started it. They started like a small militia group. That was how they started. And they were able to do a lot to enable them get to the point where they are. It's unfortunate that Eritrea today, the president of Eritrea is supporting Ahmed in it, as well as some other part of Sudan, as it were, in terms of military assistance, as it were. Though they are claiming they are not, but in March here, the man admitted that part of the soldiers who are fighting for the central government, as it were, that they are from Eritrea and some also from Sudan. So you'll find out that the people are not fighting because of that, they are fighting because of what they believe in. And Ahmed on his own, being part of the system, because the painful aspect of it is that the people are looking at from there. This man has been part of us. At the time we started this struggle, he was part of the struggle. Finally, we have gotten to the particular age of the struggle. The man now came into office. When he came into office, the first thing he did was to ensure that those leaders, those political leaders of the Tigray, he was able to, push them aside. And not only that, their own, you see, of recent he decided to, the TLPF, he now made it a terrorist group. That was what he recently said.
He branded them a terrorist
group. Okay. They are no longer a party, as it were. He now went and formed another party on his own, and now labeled this a terrorist group. This is the same group that brought you into power. This same group that you ride on their back to get to where you are. And suddenly, that same group has become a terrorist group. That is what you find in an African country. Once a leader gets into power, because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That is the position. The young man has a good intention. That was why he won the 2019 Nobel Prize for Peace, because of the peace pact he had with Eritrea. And he was, for that singular act, he was, nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Because he also showed clout that he has a good intention. But suddenly, as the pressure is on him from the Tigrayans, first of all, you talk about the internet system, their phone communication and everything, he has been able to put them off so that these people cannot communicate to the world. But one thing is sure, a determined mind will always achieve his aim, as long as he believes in it, for the betterment of the people in totality, not for his selfish interest. Because his action, as it were, he wants to consolidate power. He wants to come back. He wants the election to hold and so enable him to come back to government. That is why he's working with the Eritreans, because it was through their support that he came back to government in 2019. So that is what he is doing presently to ensure that he remains in power.
All right. Now, if you take a look at the clip where we're rolling right now, these are Tigray soldiers and, of course, Ethiopian soldiers. They've been clapped for, saying that you guys have done a good job. You've done a neat job. Now, if you take a look at the situation on the ground, it's like the Tigray soldiers have been able to recapture their capital. Should this send a message to Ahmed talking about the Prime Minister of Ethiopia?
Yes, the thing is that Abiy Ahmed has forgotten so soon what happened between Ethiopia and Eritrea. He has forgotten it. This was how the Ethiopia-Eritrea crisis started gradually. And before you know it, Eritrea is a state of her own today. Yeah. She's standing alone on both legs. And if care is not taken, the same thing will happen in Tigray tomorrow. And that is why the people, now they'll be able to capture their capital. They now have confidence that, if we take a step further, we can do it. Hence, we can achieve this. I think we can do it. That is why I said, most African leaders, the problem they have is that when they are not in power, they seem to have like minds with the people. They seem to romance with the people. They seem to understand the people better. They seem to have the confidence of the people. But immediately they get into power, you see them, you begin to wonder whether it's the seat they are sitting on that is the problem, or whether it's the comfortability of the office that is the problem. And that is why, if he is wise, he should handle this, you give a political situation, or political answer rather, to the situation on ground now. Because the people now, they are building more confidence. And that's why you see from the clip, you see them coming back and their people are praising them.
They're clapping for them.
Even children who have taken to arms.
Yes.
You can see young ladies there. You can see women. Everybody is ready. Everybody is battle ready. And that is why this crisis in Tigray is a wake-up call to all African leaders. They should learn from this and sit tight and begin to say, it is not time that we begin to bully on the people. Look, we've seen enough of the bully. The people are no longer afraid of the bully. By the time you carry out a military campaign, just as it was in Tigray, the people will react. Even if you take python dance there, they will react. If you take crocodile dance there, they will react. Because already the people are telling you that you were one of us. You were part of us. We trusted you with our lives. And that was why we made you leader. Now you rode on our back. And you have succeeded. And you say you are going to do away with us. No, not at all. We are going to follow you up. And that is why you see the crisis there. And we do hope that this crisis will not generate further.
Because right now it's spreading around the Horn of East Africa. Don't forget about the history of Eritrea, Ethiopia, and now we are seeing a Tigray trying to prove to the Ethiopian government that they can stand on their own. People like saying that the reason why this is happening is because there's no centralized government in Ethiopia. Each region is allowed to run their own government. Do the report to the middle, but they are on their own. Is that the reason why for this agitation?
Well, you see, they have their government as it were, long before now. They have managed their affairs. They have their parliament, as it were, though they report to the central government.
Yeah.
But the truth still remains that they are known as Ethiopians, as it were. But again, they have their government. And these people were the ones who fought for whatever it were. You know, Ethiopia is the only country in Africa that was never colonized.
Yes.
Though the Italians came at the point in time during the, I think, the Second World War.
But they didn't succeed.
But they didn't succeed. And you know that Ethiopia, and after the Italians left, Ethiopia now decided to annex Eritrea because Eritrea is at the border of the sea. Because that is the only place they can get out to the sea. That was why they tried to see if they can annex Eritrea. That took that over 30 years, that there was war between them and Eritrea. Until finally there was a peace pact, as it were. So the Tigrans, as I know of the truth, they are warlords. They will continue to fight.
So they are warlords in that region?
Yes, they are warlords in that region. And this war that they are fighting will, at the end of the day, create more crises in the northeast, as it were. Because some of other African countries will be affected. Because as it were now, you find that people are migrating, moving from into Sudan, some are moving into Eritrea. And some other African countries like Egypt and others that are closer neighbors will equally have a taste of it because of these migrants. There is going to be a high level of famine. Famine in the sense that there will be no food. Even the United Nations presently is talking about that there is high level of famine. There is sexual violence. Especially this sexual violence is usually from the Eritrean soldiers who try to wear the Ethiopian uniform. To cover up their crimes, as it were. The government on its own part is trying to see how their internet, their phone, communication generally, they try to put it off to ensure that they are able to match the people of Tigray, from not, achieving that with them. But now they have taken over their region, as it were, and I know they are moving further for being able to, for the central army to retreat from the capital of Tigray. That is enough to tell you that they are ready to stand their ground. So to me, what Abe need to do at this point in time, to see how they will go to a roundtable conference, to see how to negotiate, because the more the crisis go on, for now, the international communities are watching from the sideline because a lot of persons are benefiting, either directly or indirectly. Whether you are selling arms, you are buying arms, or you are going to get one benefit, natural resources, whether there's oil there, there's gold, there any other natural resource you want to benefit. You have the river Maghreb that is there, that have a lot of natural resources. People are watching from the sideline. The recent president that is supporting Ethiopia has his own personal reasons because he knows definitely what he has to benefit, maybe directly or indirectly at the end of the day. But what I'm saying in essence, that at the end of the day, it is the people that are going to suffer it. Just as presently they are suffering it. You find thousands. From United Nations, they said over 700,000 are already displaced. And moving into other African countries. Not to talk about the hunger and starvation that is going on.
All right, like one deduces from this crisis that this is the first step to secession by the Tigray region in Ethiopia. Is this a kind of a ploy to stand on their own? At least the first victory, so to speak. Is that the first step for them to have a country called Tigray?
Yes, that is the situation. And that is what is happening just now in most African countries. Now, the East Africa, I want to believe, is not at ease just now. Because already, most East African countries are having one battle or the other. Maybe insurgency, maybe one conflict or the other. So they are not able to align. Maybe perhaps to form an allied force like what we had in West Africa, what is called ECOMOG.
Then, yes.
Then, who went and see that they quenched the crisis in Sierra Leone and in Liberia. So I don't see that happening in Tigray just now, because the whole of East Africa is engulfed with one crisis or the other. So these men and women, like my colleague said here, the Tigrans are valiant men and women. They are men of valor.
You could see them there in the
and as you see them just now, these men are ready to die for the liberation of Tigray. And that is why they are saying that, look, if you don't give us what we want, then we'll go to battle. Whatever language you are going to speak, we do understand that language. And we are ready for that language. And that is why you see that I did say from the outset that the Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, ought to look for a political solution. He has forgotten so soon, just like I said. The crisis between Ethiopia and Eritrea, now Eritrea is supporting him. Why did Eritrea choose to go away? The same Eritrea that is supporting, why did they choose to go away? So, and why shouldn't Tigray go away? That is the question now. So, whatever it is, I still think there is a political undertone to the crisis, and there ought to be a political answer to the crisis. So, it's a matter of saying, okay, let us bring these people together. If not, Wilson, I assure you, just as they've succeeded, they've already had the first bite of victory, which is capturing their capital.
The capital.
And you know, like we did agree here, Ethiopia is regional. They practice regional government.
Yes.
Yeah, just have one central. So the center is weak. The center is weak. And because of that weakness, already the regions are already seeing it, that this center is weak. So the Prime Minister should be what? Diplomatic in resolving this matter. If not, I see Tigray having a country of their own.
If you just join us, this is Africa Discourse. We're taking a look at Ethiopia, TIGRAY crisis, impact on the East African region, because right now, take a look at Sudan. Sudan is like, burning. You get to hear about Al-Shabaab also attacking in Kenya region. Also, their border is not that safe. So, permission of a military coming together to, broker peace in this region, for now, it is out of the question. The big question right now, region after this break, is talking about settlement. Is it too late right now? Because the soldiers of Tigray, it's like they're motivated because of a recapturing of their capital, Melaka. We'll be right back after this. Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's a live studio. You can get to hear us, discussing other issues, politically speaking. Well, this is Africa Discourse. We're taking a look at the Ethiopia Tigray crisis, the impact in the eastern region, because it's like the east right now is boiling. If it's not, a particular state fighting for secession, you get to hear about terrorists affecting countries in the eastern blocks. And of course, I have beautiful minds in the studio to talk about this, to deliberate on this issue. Barrister Emmanuel Obakpolo and of course, Barrister Henry Nwanzo. They are throwing, all the kind of thoughts and, of course, opinion to this particular issue. And nobody prays it happen in this region because, come on, talking about total war, that is what is happening right now in that region. Is it too late to broker peace? Because you saw the videos, like this army, they are motivated, they are gingered up to, take it to the next level, take it up a notch. After all, according to them, they've suffered the worst. It's like no husbands right now. Let's go fight to finish.
Well, it depends on the man who is going to call the shot. It depends on the person of the Prime Minister. If the Prime Minister is ready to broker peace, I know of a truth that the people on their own will want to listen, depending on the angle which he is coming from. Whether he will address the inequalities they have complained about, whether he will address the dehumanization they have passed through, whether he will address the economic quagmire they have passed through, whether he will address the fact that the children do not have good education, that they do not have good health system, that they don't have good roads and other things that they needed. Because you see, what brings up agitation is when you are marginalized. Accepted that they are the third largest tribe where you have the Oromo, you have the Amata, and then you have them. But the question still remains that these are men and women who have fought to ensure the unity of Ethiopia, as it were. At any point in time, any country has tried to question the authority of Ethiopia. These are men from Tigray. They have fought. Starting from mid-1970s, when the little group of militias started this struggle.
They came together.
They came together and started this struggle. And when they started this struggle, between 1991 to 2012, before the man passed on, they had a stable government. The economy was booming. Before finally, after the death, Ahmed, they continued to fall. Ahmed was part of the system, but he cannot so suddenly, because he has been able to get himself to a point. Most probably he never dreamt of getting to that position. He's a young man of 44 years, as it were. So he has gotten to the position, because that is the pinnacle, as it were. And now that he has not felt that, the best way to pay back to these people who have struggled is to pay them back in a bad coin, on which the people are looking at back, where we are coming from. In that effort, let us fight till the end. So to me, from a reasonable man point of view, there's nothing stopping him for calling for the truth. Though he's from the Oromo tribe.
Yeah, tribe.
His father is a Muslim, the mother a Christian. But that notwithstanding, the issue there remains that is for the survival of the nation known as Ethiopia. So he needs to do the needful now that the chiefs are not all that down, as it were. Now that the people, to some extent, they have shown capacity that they can resist anything, notwithstanding what's happened. From what has happened now, you will be able to know that these people are ready to fight till the end. They have recaptured their capital, and they are not going back. And if care is not taken, that he pushes them forward, they will move down to Addis Ababa. Where is it? And that would be not enough. That will not be good, too good
for the center.
For the center, because once they move from their own point to the center, it becomes a challenge. So to me, from a reasonable man point of view, call a truce, whichever angle they are looking at it. Don't look at it on the angle that, oh, they will, ask you, they will say that you're a weakling. Eritrean president and some other ones are supporting you. But if you have the interest of your people, because what matters most in life is having the interest of your people. Not your personal interest. If you say, I have the interest of my people, I want my nation to remain united, I want my nation to grow, you have to do the needful to ensure that your nation remains one single entity. But if it's personal greed, because of his ambition, because the young man is ambitious, he wants to remain in office. Because that is the problem you find in most African leaders. Once they taste power, they don't want to go. So the young man wants to remain in office. He wants to use everything, gag everything as it were. Ensure that the oppositions are all silenced. Ensure that nobody raises all his either good or ugly head to challenge his authority. But I tell you, if it does not take time, these Tigrans will march to Addis Ababa to meet him.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to ask you the same question, Barrister Mano Bakbalo. He said, you know, it is never too late to broker peace. Call for a truce. Do you see it happening right now? Because these guys were chased with a capital. It took the last will in their body, in their spirit, soul, to come together to recapture their capital. Do you see them sitting on a round table to talk about peace?
I do not see it now, just now, because the battle in Ethiopia just now, Ethiopia Tigray crisis, is a battle of wit.
Battle of wit?
Yes, because the Prime Minister is asking the question, who are you? And when you keep asking a people, who are you? One day, if the people have been silent, if they are silent for long, not answering that question, one day they may be tempted to say, we want to answer this question, who we are. You get it, we see. And that is why you see, and that is the position in Africa. Most African leaders always ask the people by conduct, by their language, by their dispositions, by the way they come up with policies, who are you? And he has forgotten. Ethiopia, as it stands just now, the location of Ethiopia is exposed to anything. Because Ethiopia is close to the desert. It's an arid region. So it is close to anything. Anything can just happen. That was what happened in Libya. Before now, I remember the press used to call Muammar Gaddafi the Libyan strongman. I heard that for many years, the Libyan strongman. But the day the people chooses to rise against the strongman became a rabbit and was smoked from the hole. So he should avoid what happened in Libya. He should avoid what happened in Sudan. Now we now have Sudan and South Sudan. He should avoid what has happened in other African countries, Liberia, Sierra Leone. He should toe the line of peace. And diplomatically, he should ensure that there is peace in Ethiopia. If not, he may not live to tell the story of this crisis that is on ground now. Because already he has given the people room to say, we can do it. We have recaptured our capital, so let's proceed. And the day they choose to proceed, before you know, they may have interest from other sympathizers. Even the Eritrea that seem to be sympathizing with him now, the Eritrea men might withdraw their sympathy, because one thing about nations of the world is where their interest lies.
It's all about interest.
Yes, by the time they see that they are going to get more interest from this person, if this person succeeds, they may begin to assist the person and even reveal the secrets of the other man that they've known over the years. So that's why I advise him, but I don't see him doing it now, because his shoulders are too high. If you hear him talk, he talks big. He talks big. If you hear him talk, he talks with pride. He should do away with pride and come down. Rather, I will advise him to stoop to conquer. So that these people, he can invite them and say, come, have you forgotten that we are brethren? Have you forgotten that we fought for this liberation? We are still one. By so doing, he must have convinced or confused, or both the people.
Convince and confuse. Using politics to convince or confuse. Let's just drop our arms and just work together.
Yes, and bring the people to the settlement table.
All right.
Then agreement might be reached.
Okay, because right now, true to what both of you have been talking about, there is great instability in the Eastern Bloc, so to speak, the horn of the Eastern Bloc of Africa, because of all these troubles. And now, you have been talking about it. It's like UN, are their hands really tied in this matter? Because all they do is just talk, talk, talk. What is really going on?
You see, United Nations has always been like that. I used to hear about African Union. I don't know if they still exist.
I was coming to that.
I used to hear about African. You know, when we were growing up as children, we talk about OAU, Organization of African Unity. You know, all this is, we say United UN, United Nations. All these groups, as it were, before now, they were very vibrant. Before now, they had the interests of the people. Before now, they look, before the crisis engulfs a particular region, they do their best of possible to call the parties to order. But today, what you find, because of interest, it has become business. Either you are going to sell your arms, or you have certain mineral resources to benefit from the because once there's crisis in a particular place, what stopped the United Nations from intervening long before now? They have not done it. The African Union, I don't know if they still exist. What stopped them from intervening? Calling the parties to order. Sending emissaries to these people. Let's have a roundtable conference and see how this crisis can be resolved. Nobody has done that. United Nations is busy calculating. Oh, today, over 350,000 people are facing hunger and starvation. Oh, it has multiplied to 700,000. That is what the United Nations does. Oh, the Tigray, initially they had over 250,000 soldiers. Now their soldiers are over 500,000 soldiers. Is that what you are supposed to tell us? And people are making contributions towards, ensuring that once there is crisis in any part of the world, the United Nations will play their role. They want until the Tigrayans are all killed, or the Ethiopians are all killed, before they will not come and begin to bring humanitarian support.
But according to them, they've been trying to the extent that they've been attacked.
Yes, you see,
they'll be like, come on, you see, right now.
You see, it's because of the way they handle the crisis, particularly in Africa. That is the problem we have. Because our leaders have failed to do the needful as and when due. Our leaders have sold us out for 30 pieces of silver. So that is why they will always watch from the sideline. When the crisis has completely engulfed us, they will not begin to run around us, begin to come with humanitarian aid as it were. What stops you from nipping it in the bud before it's generated to what it is today? Nobody did that. Abiy Ahmed, he has some political allies with these Western countries. Why didn't they call him? Young man, come here. Let's sit down and talk over this issue. You cannot allow your country to, to be boiling. You cannot allow your country to go into war because these people, you benefited from it. This is where your father and your mother are from. If today something is happening to your country, what will be your benefit? But nobody has done that. They waited until the crisis has gotten to this level. And these men from Tigray, they cannot stop. Because one, they have recaptured their capital. And now the confidence has been built strongly. And the next thing they will be thinking of, my brother, we want our freedom. We will no longer be part of Ethiopia. We want to answer, because it is a regional government. They have every right to say, I will no longer be part of you. And because they have their own army, because what do you need? They have their own army, they have their own government as it were. That is in existence. So automatically, what is just for the people to go into a referendum and then decide that, oh, today we are breaking away. And let me tell you, a lot of nations will be ready to support them because they know what they will benefit from them at the end of the day. So what we are saying to say in essence, conclusively, is that the young man, the earlier the better for him. Because if he allows the battle to continue, at the end of the day, he equally will be the casualty. There's no way he cannot be the casualty.
Okay. UN, AU. I don't think we have an Eastern body that takes care of the Eastern Africa. I mean, but right now, these two major bodies, are they just backing without biting, or they don't even back at all?
They are not backing at all. The truth is that the UN, all they do is about their interests. Because they still see themselves as the white lords over Africa. Like, let me take us back. In 1993, the crisis in the 90s, let me say so, the crisis in Rwanda was fueled by them. They sat there, they were using their fingers to solve arithmetics. So, arithmetically, are they ready to ensure that there is peace in Africa? They are not. All they know is their interests. What do we stand to benefit in any part of Africa or in the whole of Africa? Just like they sat down somewhere in Berlin, Germany, and divided Africa to themselves. That is what they are still doing till tomorrow. Neo-colonialism is the order of the day. And that's why they are not interested in any crisis in Africa. Instead, they even fuel the crisis in Africa. And that was why when the Liberia-Sierra Leone crisis came up, West Africa was able to come up, led by Nigeria, with ECOMOG. The UN was there. The OAU was there then, as it were. They couldn't do anything, but ECOMOG came up, and that was where Nigeria derived that name, Giant of Africa. But today, what is the situation? Even Nigeria is battling, talk more of raising ECOMOG now. And now that the international community ought to come in, that now that the crisis is fresh, and see that the profound solution to it, they are watching. Instead, what they are busy doing, they use their fingers to solve arithmetics. And they tell you 300 persons, 3,000 persons are dying, there is starvation. Why all this rumor peddling? Why all this propaganda, so to speak? It is the way the crisis is just now in Ethiopia. I think it is a wake-up call for the international community to come in and intervene and ensure that there is peace. Not that when the thing gets out of hand, they'll begin to say, okay, we want to send troops to Africa, United Nations. Even while they are sending troops, they are coming with weapons and they are sending to a particular group. That's what they are doing. What they did to us during the colonial days, they are still doing it to us just now. And that is why I am appealing to Abiy Ahmed that he should forget about the ego. He should forget about the wit that he possesses and see how he can come down and ensure that there is peace in his country. Because if this thing gets out of hand, the same international community will begin to say, oh, there is violation of human rights that they didn't see from the beginning. Or they saw from the beginning. There is violation of this. There is that. We can see genocide here. And before you know, they will tell us that they want to try African leaders. You will bring them before the International Criminal Court. Just abuse of human rights
during the war.
But now that the right is still at the bottom, being trampled upon, you can solve it. But they are refusing to do that. Because they are looking for a room where they will begin to tag Africa as a black world. Black world to the extent that there is nothing good that comes out of Africa. Why they are the ones who are creating that avenue, who are creating that room for Africa to be a dark world, so to speak. So the international community, on their part, they are not doing well at all. And that is why I think that AU, as it stands just now, that one, I don't see. It's a toothless bulldog.
And you said they are not even backing.
Yes, AU is a toothless bulldog.
I don't even know what are they still in existence.
Wow. The only thing is to raise a regional force.
The regional force.
Yes, to see how they can quell the crisis in Ethiopia, between Ethiopia and Tigray. But like I did say, that region is suffering already. You have insurgency, you have an Islamic group, you have one crisis or the other, you have hunger, you have an economic crisis, you have political crisis. So I don't see them raising a regional force to curb the crisis in Ethiopia. And that is why I think Ethiopia will boil longer.
Wow, interesting. He just raised the point I was going, talking about the insurgents, talking about the militia, talking about the terrorists in that group, knowing fully well that the Eastern Bloc, especially the Eastern Horn of Africa, is like undergoing this kind of duress. Do you see these militia, these terrorists cashing in on it?
Definitely, the terrorists will cash on it. And the same thing we are suffering in this part of the world. Day in, day out, they are kidnapping people. Recently, yesterday, you saw on television how the police and the vigilante were able to rescue them. Because there is so much catch of arms in the society. The question you ask yourself, where do these people get these arms? They are being supplied. No African country is manufacturing gun. I don't think there's any African country that
manufacturing gun.
Yes, AK-47. I don't think. All these ones are coming from the Western world because they will look for an avenue to sell their arms. So when there is crisis of this nature, just as you find in Ethiopia and other parts of the world, that is time for them to do their business. And that is what they are doing today. So on my own part, I have said, I don't know if they still AU. I don't know because of I've not been following up to know if they're still in existence. But if they're still in existence, it's the onus is on them as leaders, as it were, to call these two leaders of the Tigrans and the armed belt to order. Call them, they can come to a neutral ground where the issues can be addressed. Or in the alternative, they can send a delegate to them, to meet them at the capital, where these issues are. And incidentally, AU capital, AU headquarters is in Addis Ababa.
Addis Ababa.
You find. So the question of looking for where to hold the meeting is not an issue because the headquarters of AU is in Addis Ababa. So they have a place where parties can easily come, issues will be addressed, those ones that are, you know, on that has affected them as a people will be looked into, and the warring parties will look at it objectively, knowing fully well that their own side of it, a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. Because what these people are pursuing is not, they are not pursuing their selfish interests. What the people are pursuing, they are pursuing that we should have a better life for ourselves, for our children, and for our children unborn. And that is the same thing every African nation, especially in this part of the world, are asking their leaders to give. Today, just like in my country here in Nigeria, today Nigerians are passing through a difficult time. Some homes cannot even have a square meal. That is what we are passing. Because our leaders have mortgaged our tomorrow. They have sold our tomorrow and made us to believe that we are not human beings, that we are only existing because death has not killed us. That is the impression they have given to us. And that is what the Tigrans are saying, that we cannot be like that. We want our own nation. We want to remain united. We want to fight our cause. We want a better living. We want better schools for our children. We want better hospitals for our children. Our children should be able to have good education up to university level. You find out that some of all these African countries, they have what it takes for the people from that part of the world to, to have a better living. But few persons have decided to hijack it. These few persons, just as you find in this part of the world, in my own country, Nigeria, few persons have decided to make themselves and turn their countries to a business center. They have no other business. The only business they do is how do we get from the country. And that is what you find in most African countries. And that's what you find in Ethiopia today. If Abiy Ahmed, I remember where he's coming from, that he was part of the struggle that brought him to power after the death of Malawi. That would be enough for him, from a reasonable man, to know that it is the interest of my people first than my personal interest. Right. But if he decides that his own personal interest should outweigh the interest of the general public, the fire will surely consume him while he's consuming others.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Henry Wazo. That's your last statement on this particular segment. I really appreciate you. Barrister Manobakbalo, 1 minute. What do you think is the way forward out of all this?
The way forward is to grant the people their liberation.
Give them their country?
Yes, give it to them. Wow. Hence, they cannot manage the country as one. They should give it to them. Let them see how they can manage it.
All right.
Abiy Ahmed should not hold on to power for long, because already he has lost grip of everything. So he should give it to them. Or, better still, he should call for peace politically.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate the wonderful analysis. You heard them. It's all about Ethiopia Tigray crisis, impact on the East African region. That is what we are talking about. Let's see how it will pan out. Right now, the Tigray soldiers have been able to recapture the capital, Meleke, and they are jubilating. They are happy, saying, yes, this is what we want. After recapturing the capital, what next? Once more, gentlemen, appreciate a wonderful analysis.
Thank you very much, Wilson, and viewers at home. God bless all of us.
Tomorrow is International Forum. Well, just take me to this channel, same time, so I get to know what we have in store for you. Bye for now.